To the April 14th school board meeting. We are recording this meeting and it will be available on YouTube. Now we have to do roll call. So Bridget. Here. Dustin.
Here.
Jared.
Here.
And then Terry and Amanda are absent. All right, let's move on to the recognition of visitors. We have the students from the Washington DC trip. Would you like to tell us a little bit about your trip?
Sure. So I brought a couple of students from the DC trip. Go ahead, come on up, guys. This is Matt, Tyra, and Cash. I thought it would be a good idea just to let you guys know how it went, because I think we had a blast, but I don't want you to take my word for it. I want you to hear it from the horse's mouth. So please, go ahead.
Wrote a few things down here. I know it may be asking, but why was the DC trip worth it? What the DC trip gives you is perspective. The side effect of living in a rural area like this is you can live your whole life just around your house, basically, without leaving Coos County or even let alone the state. Well, this trip opened my eyes to just how big and small the world truly is. Big, and the fact is, there's a lot more than I thought was out there, from all walks of life of people living around DC, all the processes that go in to make the country what it is. And small by how close it seems at this point, and how much I was able to experience. This trip was a great opportunity to learn about political processes and everything that goes into this country, as well as state politics. It allows me to learn how I can affect politics around me, as just locally, as well as the state. It's an incredible trip, and I would recommend it to all future Myrtle Point and any student in the world. Thank you.
Hello, fellow board members and community members. My name is Cash Miller, and this is why the DC trip is important to me. To me, the DC trip was really cool because I'm a guy who loves history. So seeing all the monuments and museums and things like that was really cool. I really liked the Vietnam Memorial, the World War II Memorial, the Marine Memorial, the Air Force Memorial, and all the other memorials and museums because they just showed a lot of cool history and a lot of cool building stuff.
Architecture.
Architecture, yeah. And I feel that we should continue this trip because one, the history side of it is just really cool, and the experience of seeing a bigger place other than Coos County and all these different kind of demographics of people and all these different kinds of things, and seeing how big other cities are. I just thought it was a pretty cool trip and should be continued.
Well, I would like to thank my friends for their remarks, and I'd like to give my perspective because I am a returning student. I actually did this trip when I was a sophomore, and I enjoyed it so much that I had to come back, even if it was with you, Mr. Hartzell.
I know.
It's great. I love the trip with him. What I enjoyed so much about the second trip is I was really able to immerse myself with this experience. The first time I was so scared, I was so excited, I was like, I was itching everywhere, because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm by myself. But honestly, I loved it. And I was able to interact with different kids from different types of cultures, like from rural, like city, suburban. I was able to hear their piece. Some were Democratic, some were Republican, some were right in the middle, and I was able to hear how, like, even like we're the same age, we all have different perspectives on different things and different laws. But we were all willing to hear each other out, and which it can be hard during these times, but I was able to also learn myself as I was able to teach other kids. And what I enjoyed was that I was heard, and that I would, sorry, forgot my word, is that most kids don't really get the opportunity to be able to have someone listen to them. And this opportunity allowed me and other students to let our voices be heard while also hearing some voices that also were left silent. And by going on this trip, I was able to educate myself more on policies and my governors and senators, while also reminding myself that these are real people and that sometimes they can be a little dehumanized by the media. And by talking to them, I was able to connect with them and ask questions that I deeply cared about. And I would recommend students to return or go on this trip for future years. And I'd like to thank you for letting us have this opportunity. I really enjoyed it and I will remember it for the rest of my life.
So now that you've heard their side of the story, and as teachers, we talk about scaffolding all the time. I can let them read it in a book, I can lecture on it, but for them to actually be there and smell the air and interact with the monuments and hear other people tell the history and the story that you don't find in the books, that's what I think is really priceless about it. And I think they did a great job of hitting, it's an experience. It's not just about education. It's something they take with them, and now they've got the hunger to go see other places and do bigger things. But I'd like to open it up a couple of questions. I know that some of the board members have been here before and talked to the students, but if there's anything else that you'd like to ask about it, I think this would be a great time before we wrap it up.
What was your favorite part of it? What was the favorite thing that you guys went to? Which museum, memorial?
Monuments at night are my favorite pictures.
I guess my favorite was the changing of the guard at the Arlington National Cemetery. My dad is a really big military man, and he told me about it. He sent me videos. He was like, "Son, this is something you're really gonna like." And I think just seeing it in person and seeing the culture around it and seeing how dedicated they were to protecting the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier is really incredible.
I think for me, it was visiting the museums. I love enjoying history and being able to see it, to see like all the artifacts, the bones of like the animals, and being able to like interact with like activities that they had it taught me a lot more than just from reading from a screen.
On the day with like the program close up, we got to go see the World War II Memorial, Korean Memorial, and the Vietnam Memorial, Lincoln Memorial, but there wasn't a lot of time to go. So on our spare day, me, Miss Gray, Eli, and a couple others, we went and saw them at night, which was another really cool experience. We got to see just reflecting off what's the water?
The pool.
Yeah, the
in front
pool.
of
It
it.
was really cool.
Anything else? Don't be shy. Because this is one of those scaffolding moments for us too. It's not every day in Myrtle Point that you get to go in front of a board and speak with, pillars of the community or people that you look up to. So I think this program provides just so many different levels of experience. And I know I've talked to the Rotary Club plenty of times now, and they love it because now they have a whole group of students that they didn't know about, because not every parent, not every grandmother, not every, relative is in one of those community programs. So this gives students another chance to get a couple more scholarships later down the road, meet some people with some experience that might be able to guide them, down a certain path that they're looking forward to. But if that's it. Oh, yeah.
Not necessarily a question, Chair, if I may. Not necessarily a question, but just a comment, because this presentation just fills everything like my entire cup. This is why I want to do this work on school board. I'm a huge advocate for student leadership, leadership opportunities. And when you talk about how you dehumanized how the political system is dehumanized, and the ability to go back and see how that works, because we live in this silo sometimes where we don't think we're that impactful and that we can make the change that needs to happen, and that's so far away that we can't get there and do it, but we really can. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. So definitely in the future, I'll have the paperwork filled out. I want to start fundraising a year earlier this time, so I'm not rushed. But this is it. I think this is my passion project as far as working here at Myrtle Point. So thank you again for a second year of really great memories among the students. And they did mention a video. Miss Gray helped me. Miss Gray did not get enough credit in those speeches or from me yet. This was my travel partner this time, and she had all of the little gaps filled that I couldn't make it, or if I was, busy doing something else, she had my back. And now that they're gone, other teachers, I'm going to brag even more about Miss Gray, students have talked to other teachers and said that they saw another side of Miss Gray. Because students know us as the teachers. They don't realize that we're humans too, and we love to have fun. So, right, so Miss Gray actually took them out. And the last day, we opted to have a spare day, just in case we didn't get to see everything we wanted to see. So did you do the scooters with them? No? Okay. So there was a group that did scooters around Washington Mall, and they said it was the most fun experience they've ever had, just zipping everywhere and getting to see all these extra things quicker. But to understand that your teacher is approachable and they are here to help you, I think is priceless. So thank you guys again.
Thank you all.
To award recognition and correspondence, we have Administrative Professionals Day coming up April 23rd. That is for the secretaries and any other workers. So Carrie, we would like to thank you for all that you do. You do a lot for us. And we'd like to thank all the other secretaries and the people that work in the office, and Lacey too. All right, and adjustments to the agenda, we have to add 8.7 integrated guidance and 10.4, which is the application action item, and then we have to add 8.8 Floyd Ingram Scholarship Committee and 10.5 Scholarship Committee. And then we're adding 8.9, which is a quote from Crunch Building and Development, and 10.6 Crunch for the Crunch Building. Any other adjustments to the agenda? Okay. And then do we have any public comments on non-agenda items? If not. Okay. And then consent agenda. I entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Say aye. Any against, say nay. All right. Fiscal overview, Lacey.
We haven't changed what in our ending fund balance projection, it's still in the same. I included the club fund balances, I like to do that once or twice a year. There are a few negatives, but those are, there's money in the Rotary Club. It isn't, but the, Booster Club, thank you. So some of these clubs like football, softball, track, whatever, they have money stored. And so when they spend too much with us, we request a check from them and then that balances them out. But I did tell our secretary that they don't get to spend below anymore. So she's doing a good job of that. So those will all be back to the positive here shortly. And so also I told our secretaries we're doing a soft freeze, don't spend anything, it's that time of year, don't spend anything unnecessary. So they are scrutinizing a little better, which is nice. Floyd Ingram Scholarship, so Pat Casey, who used to run that, passed away. And it is for students with SLD, so specific learning disability, special education only. It is for Myrtle Point, Coquille, Bandon, and Power students. So and we house the money. And so I researched and found out that since he passed away, we now can control who receives that scholarship. So I had Mackenzie Wallace reach out to those other districts, send them the application for those students. That was last month. So the timeline for students to apply to that is April 30. So we need to create a committee of the board members, maybe 3 people, that will choose who would receive that scholarship. And so there's specific criteria, which those 3 people would receive in a packet. And then Carrie's going to help with a scoring sheet that you guys can use.
Interview involved or no?
No interviews.
Yeah.
No, they send 3 reference letters. And they send 3 reference letters, and they have to attach their eligibility and IEP along with it. So it is a confidential piece that you guys would keep to yourselves. And so we'll see who applies to that, but we're having them send it to the district office and then we'll kind of go from there, but we should start with a committee and then when is scholarship night for the high school?
Tuesday before graduation.
Okay, so probably middle of May and third week of May, you guys could work that out, however that works. So, there's that, and then our integrated guidance, which I feel like the name changed, but maybe not.
Yeah, they changed it to integrated program.
Yes, that. So Kaylee's our curriculum director, so she takes the lead on submitting our annual application. This is the state provides high school success money, SIA money. They combine it all. They combine also our early literacy money, so it's grants. And then we have to tell them, here's our activities, here's how we like to spend it. So I gave you that, it's the budget integrated. So we didn't change a whole lot of what we already do. So we would still use part of those funds for our music teacher, our SEL staff that help with emotional and social emotional. We can also use it for our elective pieces. So it can really help boost our elective programs that we currently have. The school counselor comes out of high school success. So each piece we decided how much would come out for the next 2 years. So at the top on page 3, and 4, and 5, it gives you the total amount that we are allotted for each of those grants. And so then I put where we think the money would go out of those grants. And so that's what we submitted. So yes, elective teachers, student sports specialists, our counselor, CTE supplies, curriculum.
With pay
For
for
early
like all the
learning.
additional fencing, the safety.
Yeah,
security,
safety was a big one. This,
Data cabling, security cameras, there's some
Yep.
stuff we've done in the past, so cleaning up any of that if needed.
and singing.
I mean, there's 4 buckets that it has to fit in, so as long as you're fitting in those buckets and you have the survey data and the community data to back it up, then you're fine. So, what we do is we take the survey data, look at it all and look at kind of all the various needs. We use like the facilities planning that we did last year with that big group of people too, and that kind of helps drive how some of the money is distributed, but.
So it's a 78-page application that, with her data that she gathered and we submitted that. So our final piece is just to submit the board of acceptance and then we're complete.
And in front of you guys also have just the snapshot of what the application looked like. We didn't print all 78 pages for today. Like,
But I can email that to you. I do have your video.
Anytime
You
you
can see it. So that was my main.
and with the scholarship, I serve on the OSAC board. So they have a really good scoring sheet to how to score and makes it very easy to do. So if whoever ends up wanting to do that or help with that, it's not a very time consuming thing, so.
Any other questions for Lacey regarding the fiscal overview, the integrated guidance and the Floyd Ingram scholarship? Okay. Thank you, Lacey. Moving on to Steve Cochran, the superintendent report.
So the classified staff have now formally reached out for negotiations. Since 3 of you are here, we would like to come back with a date or 2. One would be Monday, May 5th, which would be basically 20 minutes, 30 minutes just to get their offer on the table. So that we know where we're at, where we're beginning, and we'll ask if they can come with that particular day. And then possibly, if these dates are okay with everybody, coming back on Thursday the 8th from 4 to 6. So the first one would be, just like I said, just listen, kind of getting an idea of where we're at, where we can go, and then coming back on Thursday and seeing what we can do to get it done
And maybe
Officially.
it would be at 4.
Yes. We could make the one on the 5th at 5. For you,
It doesn't matter.
Jared,
Either one.
4 on Monday and 5 on Thursday.
is that all right?
Easy enough.
So 4 on the 5th and then 5 on the 8th.
We can go, I thought maybe we'd go to 4, we could go,
That's 5.
Oh, yeah. yeah, 4 and 4 would be.
You know,
That's fine with me, huh?
Okay,
I can make it work. Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo.
Figure out the Jackson Mountain.
It'll be short, like I said, we're just gonna listen to the, see where we're at. So I will reach out to Brunel. We don't exactly know who their representatives are. So I'll reach out to Brunel and give her those dates, and because I think they were willing to do it anytime. But they do have a change of people involved. Okay, perfect. And that's really all I have at this point. Hopefully next meeting, we'll have an update on the seismic.
School calendar. We have the,
You got that in front of you. Cindy's had it for, the last couple of weeks. I think she has, talked to all of the staffs, both staffs, classified and certified, and licensed. And I think we're all in agreement. I wanted to highlight a couple of those reduced days on those Friday, early release. That's a 2-hour early release. Kaylee is applying for a wellness grant, that has to do with staff interaction, et cetera. And honestly, we don't have any time for staff interaction, prior to, and these are all, if you see these are all prior to a week of vacation, whatever, so that they could, some kind of a 2-hour celebration. So rather than run the buses at 3:15, 3 whatever, it's just a 2-hour early release. So those 4 particular days, the one before Thanksgiving, the one before Christmas, the one before spring break, and the last day of the school year, or would all be 2-hour early releases. But and that's why it's basically just for staff to be able to join, and get to actually see people, because a lot of days we don't. So that's what those are for. If you have any questions on those.
any questions regarding the
And
calendar.
if you don't have a color copy, I will send you one.
The packet had it.
If you don't have,
I looked at it.
if you don't have a color printer at home, I will send you.
All right. Any questions for Steve or about the school calendar?
Oh, I got one other thing. Let me add it. So on the school calendar, Coquille beat me to it, which is great. Coquille's going to a half-day Friday, next year. So that was on my table, but I took it off the table. I'm gonna see how that goes with them. So now we have Marshfield with a reduced Friday. We have Coquille with a reduced Friday. We have Pacific with a reduced Friday. I think a couple, there's one.
Powers is no school Friday.
But Powers has no school Friday. Resport is going to a reduced day Friday. So there's reasons for it. And the reason for it is the PD, rather than have an 8-hour PD or 7-hour PD, we use, which we have now, PLC days. It's hard to focus for 7 hours. I know I can't. And so in a 2-hour PD that maybe you piggyback a couple weeks in a row for a specific thing, then it helps that. It would not affect the classified group in hours. They would not be affected. That's one of the biggest questions when people say you're gonna reduce the day. Well, it would not have any impact. We would make sure they had something to do, so that they didn't lose hours. And there's a lot of them that actually, they're 35-hour employees anyway. So anyway, that's down the road. But again, I just wanted to toss that out because it will be something that we will hopefully look at next year. Not adopting for next year, but to look at that down and give ourselves a year to see how that happens, because it is impactful for parents. And that's your deal. So right now, I don't know what they do when we don't have school on Fridays. So what will they do when the kids are going home at 12:30 or 1 on Fridays? That's you have to give parents in the community the idea of how are we gonna figure this out? What are we going to do? Are we gonna have an after-school program? I know Katie's would have a Friday school. There's options that are really helpful. to those that are maybe at risk or struggling. So anyway, that's something to look at in the future. That's all I have.
What needs to be getting them, so.
No, we'll see how it feels.
All right, moving on to population enrollment.
And I didn't have any, we didn't really have any changes. I mean, very good.
Yeah,
That's a bit like too much.
Yep.
All right, then any questions about population enrollment? All right, moving on to the second reading of policy DBEA. Any questions regarding the policy DBEA?
It's your budget committee, right?
Yes.
Do we, oh,
we are all right.
We have
Yeah,
enough.
yeah, we have an
We have-
actual forum.
yeah, we have 5.
Yeah, so we're in good shape, which means we have 5 + 6, we have 11, so we're good.
Review and update policy AC as suggested by OSBA.
The only thing they did was they wanted to remove number 2 at the bottom, and it was highlighted in your packet, but it's gray on here. It's just language because we're going back to the language from 2020. After legislation passed that law.
Any questions regarding? All right, and then the first reading of policy GBN, JBA, JFE, JBA/BBN, review AC-AR1. Any questions regarding any of those policy changes? Or update? All right. And then, so we're just moving on to the French Building and Development quotes.
Okay, so again, this has to do with the greenhouse in this case. So the contractor that was supposed to do it for 15,000, last week came back, he's going through a divorce. He sold most of his equipment already. He said he could do it for 30,000. And so we, said probably not. So this is a bid from Crunch, to do the same thing that we were gonna get, like I said, that it was originally 15,000. We do have the funds. We do have to spend them in a very, by June 30th, I want to remind you, by June 30th. So we really need this project completed. And, this is a bid that I think, because the other bid that we had prior to this one was like 40,000 in comparison, to the whatever in sums that they gave us the $15,000 bid, which seemed to be really low anyway. But he, like I said, he has since raised it the last week to double that. So this is Mr. Kirkpatrick's bid. So we can get started and get it done.
Any questions regarding the French Building and Development quote? Okay, moving on. Public comment regarding agenda items. No, okay. Let's hit action items, adopt the 2025-2026 school calendar.
I make a motion to adopt the 2025-26 school calendar as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. None against? Hearing, all right, adopt policy DBEA.
I make a motion to adopt policy DBEA.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hearing everybody in agreement, so no nays. All right, adopt policy AC with OSBA recommendation.
I make a motion to adopt policy AC with OSBA recommendation.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Everybody's in agreement. All right. Approve IG annual application.
I make a motion to approve the IG annual application as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All in agreement. All right, nominate scholarship committee. Anybody willing to be on the committee?
Nice.
Okay. All right. Anyone else?
Sure.
When How many, like, is it just?
I don't think it's gonna be sent to you.
And then just sent to us.
And I'll just send the applications to you, you'll review them, and then you'll
And just screen them and.
send me the information back.
Score them and send them back.
Okay.
All right.
Does, real quick, does anybody have to go present it from the committee, or how's that work?
Cause you guys have the money. Well, you mean when we do our work?
It would be at
Yeah,
the
it might
finance
not be
night.
at ours, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
I just want.
And they, and in the years past, I've never had anybody have to go do that. so.
Typically, I think those are ones that I present.
Yeah.
But if you're volunteering, Justin. That's what I would do.
You must go to band.
Thank you, so thank you guys.
All right, so, it looks like we have nominated Jared, Bridget, and Justin for the, scholarship committee.
Thank you.
Just make a motion to,
Yeah,
accept the nominees for the scholarship committee.
Second.
all right, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. None opposed. Okay, French's Building and Development.
I make a motion to accept the, yes,
Greenhouse bid.
quote from the greenhouse, quote from French's Building and Development LLC.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, none opposed. And we have some upcoming meeting input. We're gonna have our first budget meeting.
75% done.
On the
All
12th.
right. On May 12th. What time is that meeting?
5, right before the regular board meeting.
All right.
And the second one is the 19th, if I'm correct. Yes.
Okay. And any announcements? Okay. Good of the order, we'll start with, Jared.
It's nice to see the kids from the Washington trip, Colin, my kid went the first time and the second time, I think he's like getting out of school. He really enjoys it, he's traveled a lot, so he likes to, it's nice to, bring up the point of small town to big town, it's a big difference, and they're big, but they're small, I'll say, it's a small world, so it's I'm really glad that Hartsville's been able to do that, so I hope it continues. It's good for the kids that can choose to get out and see things, especially the Capitol. I mean, I've never been to the Capitol, and I would like to go spend a week at the Smithsonian, but that's probably not in my future, but maybe sometime, so.
Justin.
Yes, I agree. Cash had a great time. Same with us. We travel quite a bit around, but, that was the first time I really wanted to go, but then I thought it'd be good for him to go on his own because he's always had us with him. So it was a good experience for him to do that all on his own. So they do it in another 2 years. If he goes back, I'll probably go this next time. There you go. I'd like to go there. I've never been to Washington DC, so. And just everything going good. The sports teams are all doing good and got the field under control for baseball down there.
They do now.
Almost floated away, so. Thank you.
Bridget.
Yeah, again, really inspired about the students today and what they had to share and the opportunity. Thank you to the school district and the school for supporting the students and the teacher to do that. This week or the past couple of years on State Board of Education, the number of comments, public comment that we get all the time about Oregon schools are doing the wrong thing and we need to get back to just arithmetic, writing and reading, just like the 3 basics. And then I see this presentation and I think how important it is to focus on the well-rounded student, the other things they can get from school, the type of citizens that we want to send out into the community. And the fact that we're hearing students say that they felt heard is really important. So thank you to all the teachers that are supporting that. And again, another high profile conversation is our educators and our educators that have so much stress on themselves and are doing so much in such a high stress situation. And so the work that you're doing, Kaylee, around the grants and the work to support our educators in this community, just want to praise the school for supporting that work. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. It's so cool to see the kids come back from Washington and they, each have their own perspective of what happened. And these are people that are going to, get involved in the communities that they end up in if it's not ours. And it's just great to see that interaction where they can learn about how they can help their communities. things and how they can be a part of things. And I just think that's really cool. And I'm thankful to the teachers who go with them, because that's not easy to corral a bunch of youths.
Well, we had 0 behavior issues.
Well, that's,
So it might have set the precedent. Am I retired for this one? It was a really good group.
yeah, and I'm so thankful to Hartzell to bring, he brought this to us and he's just been so passionate about it and that he's really been on it. And it's been really cool for all the kids. And, with that, I will, adjourn the meeting. Thank you.
Tara's got mine on Friday.
Right.
Yeah. And